So what do you do when you're out comparing the Rex 01 and the SIG Sauer P226 and you can't make up your mind which one to shoot first? Here's what I do. Taking a look at the Rex 01S makes good sense. Comparing it to the SIG Sauer P226 is really kind of a no-brainer, and of course, when it comes to no-brainers, I'm your man. So side by side here we have, of course, the Rex 01S on the left. On the right we have the SIG Sauer P226 Extreme, because there are only about 1,000 variations of the P226. So this is the closest one I have to kind of a apples to apples, but it's not really, and I'll talk about those differences as we go. But it'd be nice to have like a real stripped down plain Jane P226, but the Extreme does have a few extras. So anyway, that's the comparison. And of course the Rex 01 is about half the price of the P226, certainly half the price or less of the P226 Extreme. So that comes into play, and I'll give you my thoughts on the value of the Rex 01 versus the SIG Sauer and why on earth you might want to spend twice as much or almost twice as much money for one versus the other. A couple of other quick things to point out up here are a couple of new things from Patriot Patch. Patriot Patch are awesome folks. They are partners with the Just an Opinion channel. They do the fulfillment for the awesome Just an Opinion patches that say relax, it's just an opinion. And you also get a discount, a pretty healthy 15% discount if you use the discount code Justin whenever you order from Patriot Patch. All that information is going to be in the info below this video. So go check it out. Use the links. Save yourself some money. So here's another good look at the two guns side by side, or, right next to each other. You can really see that there are extreme similarities in the design. Obviously the profile, extremely similar. But there are, of course, some differences. One of the differences you might notice right off the bat is the dust cover on the Rex 01 extends all the way out to the front of the slide. Gives you a little more Picatinny rail. Also, that is a mil-spec 1913 Picatinny rail. The SIG Sauer has the shorter dust cover and a little bit more abbreviated rail, and SIG has a bit of a sort of a bastardized Picatinny rail. It's not exactly mil-spec, and some things will fit it okay and some things kind of won't. So there's that. So kind of an advantage in terms of the accessory rail to the Rex. Whether or not you prefer one profile over the other, that's completely subjective. Both frames are alloy frames, so very similar in that respect. Another thing that's kind of obvious when you first look at them is the trigger guard is much larger on the Rex than it is on the 226. You can see that the shape of the grip is very much the same. Grip angle and grip shape very, very similar. I talked initially during my first 100 about this, the actual grip substance on the Rex. Not my favorite. It's a little on the smooth side. Doesn't give you a whole lot really to grip. The P226 Extreme has G10s, so it's going to be hard to beat those. But that's just, I don't know if there's any available aftermarket grips yet for the Rex, but assuming that this thing is selling pretty well, and I think it is, that shouldn't be too long in coming. Rex 01 has an ambidextrous mag release. It is a metal control. Basically the way it works is you push it from either side and it just goes back and forth. This particular SIG Sauer has the SIG Light night sights on it, and of course the Rex just has the little Rex sights. I don't think there are any aftermarket options available yet for the Rex in terms of sights. So those are kind of the differences. The other big difference, of course, is, this is a SIG Sauer and this is not. Alright, flip them around and let you look at the other side. And again, you can see that we have an ambidextrous mag catch on the Rex. We can also see that the Rex is from where? Get it in the light right here for you. The Rex is from Slovenia. And as we now know, beautiful things come from Slovenia. So it has that going for it. It is a beautifully made gun, particularly in this price range. Now, another key change or another key difference is they both have front cocking serrations. The SIG puts theirs down low on the slide. Rex puts theirs up high on the slide, but they both have them. The cocking serrations are good on both guns. Texture is a little nicer on the SIG. It's got a little more grabbiness to it in the rear. In the front, they're about equal. The trigger is a big difference. Now, this one has the SIG Sauer SRT short reset trigger installed, and the Rex 01 just has the standard Rex 01 trigger. So I'm going to look at them a little and try to quantify them for you. I can already tell you that this trigger is way better in the SIG than it is in the Rex, but let me give you some measurements. Alright, so because I'm comparing the Rex 01 to the P226, I'm going to start out with the P226, kind of refresh my memory on exactly how it shoots. I'm at 10 yards from my target, got a couple of orange dots, one for each gun. I'm going to go up to the head of the target and the orange dot with the SIG P226, just take some shots, and again, just sort of reacquaint myself with this pistol. Okay, the P226 definitely likes a point of aim hold. You give me a SIG Sauer with an SRT, I'm a happy boy. If you asked me to grab my favorite gun and head out the door, this would be in the running. It would be in the top 3 probably. The big thing really is, the grip and the trigger in this gun. The trigger is incredible. It does have the SRT, the short reset trigger, and the short reach trigger. Okay, Rex 01 now. I've talked quite a bit about the slide stop, slide release / decocker control. I've actually got a bit of a in-depth session that I did taking a look at that. I'm not going to bore anybody in this video with that. I may spin that off into a separate video for those interested. The behavior is a little different with a magazine versus no magazine in this control, but with a magazine, a loaded magazine, it functions beautifully for dropping the slide. I think this likes a little more of a 6 o'clock hold. So I'm going to try and hold at the bottom of my dot. Yeah, it's putting them pretty much where I'm pointing it, isn't it? It's not a short reset trigger, it is a longer stroke. It's a longer reset, but it is a very nice trigger. You know, I had done my first 100 video, and I think I might have shot 150 rounds, 200 at the most during that video. And then, you know, it's been sitting for a while since then, and I hadn't shot it again. But boy, I forgot just what a great job they did. So it is from Slovenia, and they have given us some really good things. Now see, now is where, now I've got an empty magazine that's locked the slide back, and now I just cannot drop it. That slide control is very weird. So, take the mag out. Obviously, it's a piece of cake then. Alright, let's start with the SIG, and I'll see if I can measure the double action trigger. This Lyman digital gauge has a max of 12 pounds, so we'll see how we do. Oh yeah. Easily within that at, there we go, 9 pounds, 12 ounces. That's for the double action. Now the single action. And again, this is the SRT trigger. It is light and crisp, and it weighs 4 pounds, 8.8 ounces. The Rex 01 double action, if I can get that inside my 12-pound limit, and that might be a stretch. Nope, over 12 pounds, so more than 12. No dice. So let's try the single action for the Rex. 5 pounds, 10 ounces. That's actually pretty decent. And it is a nice feeling trigger in the single action. Okay, let's check out the trigger reach and see what we get on these two guns this way. This tells you placement of the apex of the trigger to the apex of the grip tang or beaver tail. So right there, that's where the web of your hand has to extend to the pad of your trigger finger, and that is 2.876 inches on the SIG. See that? Alright, and on the Rex, well, we already know we're going to be more than that because it won't fit. So, I'll expand it out. Get it in there, find the smallest spot, and it is 3 inches 70 thousandths, so 3.070 and a half if you're counting halves. So it is a little bit more of a reach than the SIG, and that's what I expected. I kind of knew that going in, but it's nice to have numbers. Now, one other set of numbers I wanted to take a look at was the overall width at the widest point, which is, I believe, the slide stop, or the decocker. Yeah, maybe the slide stop. I'll tell you what, since they both have a decocker control and they're in the same spot, let's use that to be as fair as we can be. Yeah, 1.442. Alright, so that's where we are there. This one, same area, is a little less. 1376. I wonder how much wider. Let me get back here. Yeah, we're way wide. Let me get back here to the safety that's on both sides, and then we're up to 1482. So they are pretty comparable in terms of width. Those numbers are not far enough apart to be a big difference, given the slight differences in construction with this safety control on both sides. The grips are just about exactly the same. The heights are the same. Again, you couldn't clone the P226 much better than this, at least from a physical characteristics perspective. Magazine wells look exactly the same. Get them lined up end to end. Back to back they faced each other, drew their swords, and shot each other. So you can really see the difference in the design of the dust cover extension on the Rex, which is the left, versus the SIG. But you can see that they're pretty much identical in length. Trigger guard differences are really visible here. Trigger guard's a little thicker, a little wider material on the Rex as well, but it sticks out that much further. You can see front to front. Okay, so proving yet again that I may be a tool, but I'm not the sharpest tool. I forgot to move my target camera and show you that last group from the Rex 01. So here's a quick look at where that group went. Okay, so now, feeling like I owe you something, I'm going to shoot 15 more rounds with a fresh dot. From the Rex 01, 10 yards, windy and cold, just like we like it. She is a sweetie, absolute sweetheart. The only thing I really don't like about the gun shooting it is the grips. The grips are just way too slippery for me. Maybe I can sweet talk my buddies at Talon into making something for this. Anyway, boy, this gun is really nice. You know, if you sit and you dry fire and you compare them side by side, you know, obviously the trigger is superior on the SIG Sauer, especially the short reset trigger. But when you get this thing in live fire and you're shooting it, it's quite a beautiful trigger. You don't notice the extra take up. You don't really notice the extra extension of the trigger reach and stuff like that so much. It's just beautifully crisp. It's very light, and it definitely gets the job done. It is every bit as accurate. There's no doubt about it, or better. Probably the better way to say that is I shoot it every bit as well as I do the P226 Extreme. And that's saying something, because that is one of my favorite guns. Okay, one other difference that's noteworthy between these two guns is the magazine capacity. The standard for the SIG is 15 rounds of 9mm, and the standard for the Rex is 17 rounds of 9mm. So that's certainly significant, especially when you look at how closely these magazines compare to one another in size. I did measure them in the Rex magazine from the bottom of the back to the notch right there is about a little over 100 thousandths, maybe 120 thousandths heavier or longer than the SIG magazine. It's not a whole lot. That's about maybe a third of the diameter of one round. So they're squeezing 2 more rounds in there, and I think, my personal opinion is, they're probably accomplishing that with a weaker spring, more so than a little bit of extra length. So, combination of a half a round worth of length and about a round and a half worth of less tension on the spring is probably how they're doing that. So the big thing probably for the SIG is, just its proven track record, the fact that it is a proven combat handgun. The Rex 01, I have absolutely no doubt it's been very well tested and very well torture tested, but it hasn't been battle proven anywhere near the extent that the SIG Sauer has. So that's really the unanswered question, the only time, and those endurance tests and things like that and in real field use can answer. But, for the SIG, for me, it's always been just, it has a beautiful ergonomic feel. I love the way the SIG feels. I love the grip angle. I adore their short reset trigger system. And, I've just gotten so used to shooting them, The Rex 01 isn't a whole lot different because it is very much, a design similarity, let's call it that. The P226, and this one's broken nicely in, well over 1,000 rounds through this handgun, so it is just hitting on all cylinders. So even though I am an admitted 6 Sauer fanboy, the Rex 01 is definitely filling its shoes nicely. And that's saying something, at least, from my perspective. The Rex 01 has the same ergonomics as the P226, so it's certainly on par there. The balance is just as nice. It's a beautiful pistol. I really hate to keep harping on the grips, but I really don't like the grips much at all. Got to do something about that.